YouTube fandom community, Kiss fans, random people on the internet. My name is Giggens, and we're here today to talk about Kiss's third album, Dressed to Kill, released March 19th, 1975 through the Casablanca Records label. This thing is phenomenal. It's one of their best albums, and it's really cool to hear them in this era of their career because after this, Alive came out, and after that, Destroyer came out. So, so much happened between this album and Destroyer coming out. It's insane how their career took off. Anyways, this was produced by the band and Neil Bogart. They didn't have a whole lot of money to produce this thing. The original covers were embossed where it says Kiss and all that, but this one's a slightly later pressing, probably from the same year, or maybe from 76, but it's not embossed on the front cover. The suits were owned by Bill Aucoin, their manager, except for Peter's. Peter had his own suit. The other guys didn't. Look at jeans. Look at this. Love those short pants on him. This was taken on West 23rd and 8th Ave in New York City. Fun fact. But it went number 32 in the charts, which for a rock and roll band starting out for their third album without a whole lot of press, I mean, it's not bad. It went gold by 1977, but this album for them finds them in an era where they were writing even more tighter pop songs. They kind of reined in the production a bit. Like Hotter Than Hell had kind of a muddier, swampier sound, especially on the drums. The drums on Hotter Than Hell sound like, I don't know what they were thinking, but this album, they sound like drums again, which is a welcome addition. But the songwriting in this album shows them discovering what they can do, getting tighter in their playing, making more riffs, and coming up with some of the most anthemic songs of their career, including their calling card, Rock and Roll All Night. But it opens up with Room Service, and I love that slamming intro. It's just a classic rock and roll song about rock and roll, excess, and good times. It's simple and fun. It's not trying to be anything that it's not. That's the point. It's just like Paul Stanley being a bit of a ladies' man, if you will. Two-Timer follows that up, and I love that slow burn stuff. These early Kiss albums where they have that slow groove kind of feel, love those songs. It's a head bobber, super fuzzy guitars. It's an earworm of a vocal melody, classic. Ladies in Waiting. Gene also plays guitar on this track, which is cool, and it picks up when Ace does his shrieking solo, and it just stays dirty throughout this whole song. Typical Gene kind of stuff, but it's cool. Getaway is nice. It's actually written by Ace, and Peter sings lead on this, and I love the crisp and clean production here. It works really well because of the gruffness of Peter's voice, so good balance there. But it's nice to hear Gene duet with him. Just a fun rocker. Peter gets to scream his heart out on it. Awesome little track. And then Rock Bottom, which is just one of the most classic Kiss songs in the canon, if you will. Long acoustic intro, very hypnotic, very otherworldly, kind of like Black Diamond. And then when it jumps in, it's just this powerful rock ride that just slaps you in the face over and over again. Ace's solo rips playfully along, chugging rhythm the whole way through. It's a song about not getting treated well. But man, it is just a rockin' song. Side 2 opens up with one of my favorite songs by the group, Come On and Love Me, written by Paul. It's surging, it's instantly catchy, it's full of classic Kiss moves, that cool sly chorus delivery, the perfect Gene and Paul vocals, the accents from Ace. It's just a perfect track. Come on and love me, and then Ace does his solo bit. I mean, it's perfect. It hits all the right spots. It's a hell of a song. Anything for my baby follows that up. Cool song about doing anything for your girl or guy. It's just being there for the one you care about, and it's awesome. I like Peter's fills on this one, the acoustic guitar. I think there's acoustic guitar on this one buried in the mix. That's really nice. But the tom-toms in the chorus are fun. And then you get She. One of the best Kiss songs ever. It's just slow, chunky, groovy. The dual lead vocal, the riff rock frenzy that this song is, the middle bit with the bass and the drum, the build up, the storytelling, it's just perfection all over. It is early Kiss in a nutshell, where they would let loose and experiment and jam for a while. That died out after the early years. Their songs never had that jamming feel ever again after this album. There'd be tiny moments here and there where it would creep in a little bit, but as far as like an expansive kind of song, never again. So that makes this one really special. Then you get Paul doing Love Her All I Can, which, again, one of the best songs they ever did. Another Kiss masterpiece. It's fun, fast, catchy, riff rock frenzy. Cowbell, great solo, feel-good rocker, perfect song. And then they end with their mission statement, rock and roll all night. You know, it's one of those tracks that seems like a no-brainer now, but it had never been written before. And it's one of those things where you kind of just take for granted that it exists at this point. But knowing that these guys sat down and wrote this song about like, what do we want to do? I want to rock all roll all night, party every day. Like that's an anthem, and they recognized that. They nailed it. The celebration, the rebellion, the joy, the anthemic youth feeling that this song provides never allows itself to get old. It's always going to be a song for the young fan discovering rock and roll for the first time and falling in love with it. It's almost like they knew what was to come with this song, and they were hoping that they knew what was to come after this. But yeah, I mean, it's absolutely a Kiss classic. We all know that. But this was their last album before Alive came out, and Alive is what changed everything for them. If you're new to the Kiss story, these first three albums didn't sell well. I mean, number 32 in the charts a couple of years later, pretty good. But Alive is what did it, because their shows were the main draw. People came to see them live, and their records were good, but people wanted their live show. So they thought, why don't we just record our live show? That was that. That album blew up, and this was the era of the mid-70s. Frampton Comes Alive, all these big live rock albums came out. It was that era, but things worked like that. And that album changed everything for them. And after that, they wanted to put out Destroyer, which is just an incredible body of music that was streets ahead of what they were doing on this thing. Production-wise, construction-wise, lyrically, I mean, everything about the album was different. So this really is the end of an era. The first three albums are definitely kind of like Kiss getting their feet wet and figuring out what they want to do. Alive shows them showing what they can do on stage, and Destroyer was like, hey, here's what we can also do. So it was cool. It's cool, like looking back contextually on their career to see where they were and what they were doing. But yeah, this album is definitely special in their discography because it was the end of that early stuff for them. But back cover is really cool, kind of a spooky effect there with a negative. And here's the label, which there's slightly different pressings of the label for this one, but this looks like this one. So yeah, for me, this is easily like a 9 out of 10 album for them. As far as the early years go, you can't go wrong with any of their stuff in the 70s, basically, but this one for them, you can tell they were hungry, probably physically hungry too, because they weren't making a whole lot of money, but you can tell that their drive is there. They want to succeed, they want to win, and they'll do anything they can to get to that point. And they did. But this album really shows that they can stretch out from what they had done in the first two albums, but still sound like them, but just sound even more tenacious about it. Like, the attack that's on this album in vocal delivery and in riff rock frenziness is impressive. For a group of guys that had only been playing for a couple of years at this point, they were tight, and it shows. So, love this album, 9 out of 10, hands down, great record. What are your thoughts on this? My name is Giggens. This has been Kiss, Dressed to Kill. Happy to talk about this thing finally. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below, and we'll chat about it. We'll chat about Kiss. Why not? Let's do it. All right, my name is Giggens. I'll see you guys next time. Take care of yourselves. Bye-bye.